Legend of Zelda, one of the most iconic games and franchises ever made. The game drew its inspiration from the title's main director Shigeru Miyamoto, where as a child, he would explore nearby fields, woods, and caves. He is quoted saying, "When I was a child, I went hiking and I found a lake. It was quite a surprise for me to stumble upon it. When I traveled around the country without a map, trying to find my way, stumbling on amazing things as I went, I realized how it felt to go on an adventure like this." Well, luckily for me, I was not Miyamoto, because I had a map that was included with the game. I ended up having this map laminated as it was torn many times over the years. And while we were talking about what was included with the game, first off, look at this box. This thing was awesome. It had a little cutout on the shield so that you could see the cartridge was gold inside. Random side note, did anyone else ever notice that this cartridge, the gold ones in particular, just smelled different? Yeah, I know, I was a weird kid, but it's something I noticed. Anyways, one thing that I thought was really cool about this game was the instruction booklet. The drawings were amazing. At the bottom of every page, it had a tip that would help you get through parts of the game, or otherwise give you some other type of tip that may help you out. Although the tips were quite vague, it really helped to build the hype for me when I was unable to play the game due to my dad using the TV at the time. I would spend hours looking through the manual, getting tips on what to do next, trying to strategize my plan of attack so I could save the land of Hyrule. I had gotten this game with birthday money for my 4th birthday in 1987, and I had immediately had my dad drive me to Toys R Us, which was always a super exciting process because you had that game aisle with all of the little tickets that you would take up to the checkout counter and then they'd get stamped, and then you'd go over to the super high security booth and then they would go and find your game in the back and bring it up. I remember getting the game and just ogling the cartridge through the plastic, because I could see that gold cartridge through everything. And when I finally arrived home, I was well on my way. I think one of the best parts of the game that Miyamoto really got right was the sense of exploration. I remember as a kid finding level 8 after level 2 because they were so close to each other and thinking, you know what? I could totally get something really powerful if I could just find it. I cannot tell you how many times I died once I got to the Dark Nuts. These guys wrecked my entire existence as a kid. I have never been much of a raging game player, but these guys definitely knew how to get under my skin. They turn around when you try to stab them in the back. Who are they? Spider-Man? Are their senses tingling? And then I finally did it. I saw the item, which, by the way, is one of the coolest ways to present a player upgrade. It's sitting there, looking all magically delicious, building up the excitement as you make your way towards it. What could this be? Is it the Necronomicon? Will I be able to summon my own skeletons? Perhaps it's a spell book, and I could throw fire or something awesome. No, it is just a book, and because I hadn't done level 6 yet to get the wand, it does absolutely nothing for me. Over the next following weeks, I had finally gotten to Death Mountain. The music was non-stop tension building, but I was ready. I had all the hearts, the magical sword, the blue ring, red potion. There was no way I could lose. But lose I did. Many times, actually. The Patras that explode across the room wrecked me until I had full hearts to use sword beams on them. But after much exploration, I eventually found a dark room with a skull and an invisible boss. After swinging my sword in all directions like a madman and putting the silver arrow into what I can only imagine was Ganon's foul heart, I had saved the princess and beaten the game. Or had I? It's pretty well known now, but at the time it was mind-blowing. Apparently there is a second quest that I can go through and do the entire game again. So because I love this game so much, I immediately decided to give it a try. And to my surprise, oh, okay, the sword's still in the same spot, so it can't be that hard. Well, it's time to go to level 1. Wait a second. This is different. Okay, well, I got the boomerang. Good to go now. Oh, cool, skeletons. These are my money makers. What? They can't shoot swords like me. And it did more than a heart of damage. Guess I'll just have to be more careful and use the boomerang. And that's just what the second quest makes you do. It makes you use all of the tools and all of the time that you spent in the first quest to show your dominance over this much tougher version of the game. The first real thing that stumped me as a kid was getting into level 4. By this point, I was roughly 8 or so, and even though I had the Nintendo Atlas, so I knew where the dungeon was, I still couldn't get into it. So I had to enlist further help from the only people that I knew who knew everything gaming, Counselor's Corner. I remember taking my grandma's typewriter and typing out a letter to them asking how to find level 4. After felt what like an eternity, which was probably only a couple of weeks, I received the letter back from them. So apparently you actually have to go to the Lost Woods puzzle and then get the power bracelet from the other side of the river, then go back to the screen and move a rock. There was no way in hell that I would have figured this out without help as a kid. Honestly, I'd have a hard time figuring that out now, which is over 30 years later. The Legend of Zelda was one of the pillars of my gaming foundation and will always hold a place in my heart. Now with that being said, let's see what some of the tougher retro achievements look like for this amazing game. RetroAchievements.org is a webpage where you can tackle custom-made achievements for retro games in the same vein like PlayStation trophies, Xbox Live, or Steam achievements, but for your retro games. Check it out if you want to add some additional challenges to some of your favorite retro games. Also check in the description below for a link to see what games I have mastered and comment with one of those for the next game that you would like to see a video on. Also, just a quick reminder to press like and subscribe as it desperately helps me with the YouTube algorithm and is the best way that you can support the channel to help keep these videos going. I also stream on twitch.tv/DanCarnate, so come on in and check it out as we knock out these Chivos. Now, back to your regularly scheduled video. The Legend of Zelda has 69 total achievements worth 800 points. So that means that the total set is worth 1,600 points in the event that you master it on hardcore mode. Typically, I would talk about damageless boss achievements. However, in this game, the damageless boss achievements are not the most difficult ones. In particular, there are 2 achievements that I would consider to be the most difficult, and they are both the swordless completions, both on the first quest and the second quest. These will be the 2 achievements that I will focus on for this video. Unfortunately for these 2 achievements, I will not be going over with video on how to do everything in these achievements, as it would require just 2 playthroughs of the game. Now, if you would like to see me do that, I do have the retro achievement video down below in the description of where I did go through and do these on stream. Now, one thing I would highly recommend you to get used to is get used to the idea of bomb forcing. It is really the only way to get through these achievements. So to do a bomb force, you have to kill 10 enemies in a row without getting hit, and on the 10th enemy, you have to kill them with a bomb. This means, especially in the beginning of the second quest, you have to be able to kill 10 enemies with bombs and not get hit. For both quests, the main thing that I'm going to focus on is trying to get you from the beginning of the game to when you get the wand. Once you have the wand, you are essentially like having the white sword, typically. Now, the big thing with the wand is that you're still going to need bombs to kill enemies like Wizrobes. Wizrobes will be your biggest fear on both quests. However, in the first quest, you have to do several rooms that have many Wizrobes with just bombs before you can actually get the wand. So I personally believe that the first quest is more difficult, even though it has a higher completion percentage than the second quest. I attribute that mostly to people just not making it to the second quest or being just scared of doing the second quest in general. One thing that I utilized myself when I was going through these achievements is I actually watched some of Lack Attack 24's speedruns of the second quest and the first quest, Swordless. This helped me get an idea of how the tactics of fighting different enemies were to work if I just had bombs. So on the first quest, your first goal is to get a lot of money. Then you're going to grab the letter so that you can buy potions at a later time. You're going to buy the candle, and you're going to buy arrows. After you've gotten those, I typically would recommend to get even more money here, and you can actually afford the blue ring and meat. Both of these things are going to help out a lot. Now, before I even were to step into a dungeon, you can actually go and collect a ton of hearts here on the map. After you've done that, you're going to head into Dungeon 1. The other thing you're going to want to focus on this run and these Swordless achievements is to make sure that your key management, especially on the second quest, is good. So when you first walk into Dungeon 1, walk right back out and then walk in, and the door in front of you will be unlocked. You're going to grab the keys that you can from the dungeon, and you're going to head straight up until you get to the bow. You'll bomb through a wall and head all the way up, get the bow, come back through the hole that you bombed, go right one screen, then you're going to bomb above that room as well, and then you're going to finish the dungeon. After Dungeon 1, you will head to Dungeon 3. After Dungeon 3, you're going to go into Dungeon 4, and you're only there to get the ladder. After you've gotten the ladder, you're going to go ahead and pick up some more hearts so you have more health. It's very important to have health because you're going to have some serious fights coming up. After you've gotten all of the heart pieces that you can, you're going to head to Dungeon 5. The most important thing before you finish Dungeon 5 is to make sure that you do not forget the bomb upgrade. You're going to need that maximum bombs of 12 to be able to do the Wizrobe rooms in Dungeon 6, which is your goal after Dungeon 5. And once you get to Dungeon 6, you'll be able to get the wand, and you'll be good to go for the rest of the playthrough. A quick tip that I wanted to touch on real quick is the block clipping. So block clipping is something that speedrunners typically do to avoid the enemies within an item room, and that's exactly what I used it for in my playthroughs as well. So the way you do it is you're going to line up Link's head here with the block as shown, and this is a very difficult version when you do not have a sword. What you're going to do is tap either left or right for exactly 1 frame, so that's 1/60th of a second. And then you're going to step up into the block, walk over to the steps, and grab your item of choice. Now, in the event that you want to use it after you've gotten the wand, or if you would like to use it during your regular playthroughs when you have a sword to skip like Patra's, for instance, which is, mind you, is amazing, what you're going to do is line up the exact same way. You're going to then use the sword or wand, and immediately after using it, tap either left or right. And once again, you can walk through the block at this point and go into the steps if you've done it correctly. This method is actually much more reliable on an emulator than the method of just tapping for 1 frame. The second quest, in my opinion, is a little bit easier, however it starts off more difficult. Because when you start, you don't have access nearly to the amount of money that you would have access to in the first quest. So your first goal is to get money so that you can purchase bombs. After you've gotten bombs, you're going to completely finish level 1. After you do level 1, you're going to head to the Lost Woods, you're going to grab the heart in the graveyard, and you're going to get some more money on your way to the power bracelet. Then you're going to want to go to Dungeon 2. At this point, you can go around and get a couple more hearts around the world. However, be aware that once you have the recorder, you can get the ones up here near Death Mountain. However, the mobs are going to do so much damage to you because you more than likely don't have the blue ring, and you don't have a lot of hearts to take that damage. But after you're ready, you're going to head into level 6, and you're going to grab the ladder. After you grab the ladder, you're going to go to level 8 and get the wand. I highly recommend checking out Lack Attack's speedruns to see the most optimal routes through the different dungeons. especially if you don't know the second quest dungeons by heart. The good news is you don't have to do nearly as much prior to getting the wand in the second quest. The bad news is you have a much lower health pool. I will be providing a Mediafire link for you to download the maps that I've created here, as well as the notes on what to do in the order for these 2 achievements. These 2 achievements can definitely test some of your patience. However, you don't even have to fight Ganon. You just have to get to his room, and the achievements pop as soon as you step into the room with Ganon. So keep plugging away. I am positive that you'll be able to do this. And in the event that you are having any trouble, feel free to leave a comment on the video. You can contact me on Twitch while I'm live at twitch.tv/DanCarnate, or you can join the Discord in the link below. And I'm always happy to help, so as long as you reach out, I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. So now it is time. Let's go ahead and rate this bad boy. The Legend of Zelda gets an overall game rating of 8 likes out of 10. It's just an amazing game. It stood the test of time, still stands up today, and you should definitely play it if you've never played this game. The Chivo set difficulty is a 7 bomb forces out of 10. The biggest hurdles on this one is figuring out how to do the bomb forces. Now, it may be difficult to beat the game initially without dying, but I will tell you from personal experience, if you can do that, you can definitely do the Swordless achievements as well, but they are more difficult than just beating the game without dying. Chivo set enjoyability is 7 grumble grumbles out of 10. Here's a reminder to go ahead and leave a comment in the section below on the next video that you would like to see me do a retro review on. Remember, you can see the mastery list and choose from there, and I'd be happy to do your video next. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the video as well, as it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, and it's one of the best ways that you can support the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and have yourselves a great day.